Hi, this is Terry with yardcoach.com. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terry, where you can get help with those unmanageable teenagers in your life. And today we're going to talk about how to manage high school teenagers in the classroom. So I'm specifically talking to teachers. And what I want to talk to you about is some really good news about how to get buy-in from those kids who we typically call at risk or who really aren't interested in school. I had a student in my class one time named Josh. He had been expelled. He ended up in my classroom. He was a very sweet kid who went along and did whatever most of the time people told him to do until he got angry. Josh was on an IEP. He had no interest in getting help from our special education department. But one day he came to me because he was having trouble with algebra. And he said, "I hate algebra. Why do we have to take algebra?" Fortunately, I start every year with going over every student's transcript with them so we can see what they've already done and what they have to do. And back in those days, I had a color-coded one. It was like every half credit they got to color in or highlight in that we're done with that class. Because so often people, I was one of those students. I just kind of showed up at high school and went to class with no really end in sight, or I wasn't looking at the end, or I didn't know why I was taking these classes, which were electives, which I had to take. I was kind of, into the social aspect, like many kids are, for better or for worse. And so Josh and I got out his transcript, and I said, "Why are you here at school? Let's start there, because I want to graduate from high school, obviously." "Okay, great. So in order to graduate from high school, you have to complete the credits on this transcript. Look what it says. It says in the math department that you have to take Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. So if you want to graduate from high school, that's why you're taking algebra." Because he wanted to have a philosophical conversation with me, as many students do. They don't realize that they're not the first ones who've thought of this, and they want to have a philosophical conversation about how they're not going to use algebra. "I'm never going to use algebra. Why do it? It's a waste of time. Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah." So we went straight to the transcript, and I said, "Do you still want to graduate from high school?" "Yes." "Then you have to finish algebra. That's what you have to do to graduate from high school. Now, if you don't want to graduate from high school, we could talk about some other options." No, I don't want to do that." So he discovered that he needed help in algebra. And what I told him was, I can get you help in the tutoring department, which is what I called the special education pull-out program, because special education was too stigmatizing for my students. And I said, if you want to be tutored, I can talk to them down there. They're great, but you have to focus for the 30 minutes that you're down there in order for it to pay off for you. You want to do that? Yes. So it was all about his choices. I was offering options, his choices, based on what he told me, which was, "I want to complete high school." He did. He completed high school. He might have been like 21 when he did it, but he completed high school and he got the help he needed based on his own choice, his own volition, his own buy-in. And it proved to me the effectiveness of using these transcripts, which is a visual. You can either have them posted in your classroom, you can have them in every student's binder, however you want to do it. And when they're done with courses, when they're looking at what they're going to take next year, however, they understand this is what I have to do in order to earn this diploma. It's really quite simple, and it takes all of the confusion and this my asthma of school, just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on, out, and it helps them have some clarity. So I would recommend to all teachers that you start off every year in your classroom by helping them look at the transcript. If you're teaching history, English, whatever your content area is, you can say, we have 7 units this year. This is how they're broken down. So for every unit you complete, you're that much further toward your goal of getting this half credit in English or whatever that may be. So it's a really easy fix, and it takes the pressure off of you to try to have to convince students this is what they need to be doing. Because I told Josh, if you don't think kids need to take algebra and you think it's a waste of time, when you graduate, you can go run for office or do something up at the Capitol and, maybe change the rules if that's how you feel about it and you feel strongly about it. But right now, this is where you are, and this is the choice you're making, and I think it's a really good choice. So here's what you can do. You can first present the transcript the first day of class. This is what we're going to spend this day doing. We're going to look at everybody's transcript. You're going to see exactly where you are incoming this year. The second thing you do is post it. If that's a little too public for your students, or you think you shouldn't do that, then you can put it in a folder or have them have a binder and put it inside their binder. However, where they can see it, where they're reminded, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. And then you allow students to track their progress. Takes the pressure off of you as a teacher to try to convince every student that they should be doing what they're doing. So good luck with that. It's very helpful, and I hope you find it helpful too. And if you go to www.yarcoach.com, you can find more helpful resources on the Get Started page, and there's a vlog with all of these Tuesdays with Terry's for parents and teachers if you're interested in little short tips and helpful things. And I'll see you soon back here next Tuesday. Until then, happy teaching.